Alright, welcome back to another video about READYChat. In this video, we're going to look at some plugins that we didn't have a chance to look at in the previous video. And we're also going to look at how you can search for users who are not currently on your list, how you can figure out who those users are, and how you can send them a message for the very first time and add them to your list. So let's get started. I'm just going to open READYChat here from my cool desktop. So this shows that we're currently offline. READYChat is going to bring us online. It's going to fetch our list of users, and it's going to read in our conversation. So let's start at ready. I already have a list of users over here. So when you first start READYChat, when you first join READYChat, you won't have any users here. The only thing you'll have is ready at the top of the list. So suppose you know that you have a friend named Jim Kirk, and you know that he's a C64 OS user and a READYChat user. And what you want to do is you want to find out what is his handle. So if you recall from a previous video, we can type help list to get a list of the help commands. And this first section up here, they are separated from the others. The others are in alphabetical order, but these ones are separated out because they relate to how you configure your account, how you search for users, how you send messages to a user for the very first time if they're not on your list, and how you discover who a user is. So we can see here that we have search. So if I type help search, it tells us that we can go search and then a name, and it will search for a READYChat user in a case-insensitive partial name match. Now, not only will it search on their first name, their last name, but it will also search on their handle or their email address if they have not configured their email address to be hidden. So I happen to know that my friend's name is Jim Kirk, and so I'm going to search for Kirk. So there we go. It immediately calls up one match, Jim Kirk. This will only return 5 matches, and then it'll tell you how many more users there are that match the search parameter, but it won't just list them forever. So we're good with Jim Kirk here. So this shows us that this is his name, and it tells us what his handle is. Now, if we want to know more information about who this user is, we can say who is. So I'll say who is J. Kirk, and you note that this and this are not using the same case, so it is case insensitive. Handles are unique and case insensitive. And so we can see here that it says Jim Kirk, his handle again, plus the country that he's from, which is kind of cool. You know, if maybe you know a C64 user, but you don't know whether he's from Sweden or Denmark, or, you know, it's kind of cool to see where he's from, or she is from. And also we see his email address. So that's clearly because Jim Kirk has not hidden his email address. Now, I happen to have Jim Kirk over here in my list, but imagine that we don't have him over here in the list. How do we get him into this list? Well, now that we know that his name, his handle is J. Kirk, we can actually just send a message using Ready directly to a user's handle that's not in our list. So we'll start by saying help message. And you can see that it says the command is message, then their handle, then the message, and it sends a message or it starts a conversation with a user by their handle. So let's try that. We'll say message J. Kirk, again, case insensitive. How are you, my fine captain? Okay? Now, I want you to see when I send this, what happens over here. So I send the message, and here it's showing the message that I sent. But here, it has just moved J. Kirk up to the top of the list. So this list is not just a list of your contacts, but it's always in the order of the most recent communication. So ready is always at the top, but the very next person in the list is the person who has either sent you a message most recently or to whom you have sent a message most recently. And the list automatically reorders as messages come in. So right now, if Paul were to send me an email, if he were to send me a chat right now, it would just go boom, and his name would go to the top. Now, you also note that it doesn't change context. I'm still focused on the ready user, but it will rearrange the names in the list. Okay, so now that I've sent Jim Kirk a message, if his name was not on the list before, not only will it appear at the top, but it will appear on the list, period. So now that he's on this list, I can just click on his name. And you see, here's this most recent message that I just sent him without the message command to ready and without his handle and so on. It's just the message text. Now, I happen to have already had him on my list, and so we have a chat history. But it's not impossible that this could happen in other ways. So for example, this list will only show you the most recent 14 names. And so once a conversation partner, once a person with whom you're communicating gets kind of old, their name may actually fall off the bottom of the list. But that doesn't mean that your conversation history with them has disappeared. It just means that you don't see them on here anymore. So not only can you use message and a handle and a message sent to the ready user to initiate a brand new conversation, but also if a person's name happens to fall off the bottom of your user list, you can always get that name back up to the top of the list simply by sending them a message through the ready user. Of course, just as I did here as well, if you happen to be focused on the ready user and you want to just dash off a quick message to somebody, maybe you want to see something that's going on in your conversation, like, look, I see that there's a news headline that says Elon Musk is about to receive a $1 trillion pay package. And let's say I want to message that to Jim Kirk. Without changing focus, I can actually just stay here and I can just say, message J. Kirk, hey, did you hear about the 1 trillion pay package to Musk? Okay, and so I'm looking at some context here from the ready user, but I can also dash off a message to Jim Kirk. Even though he's on my list, it's still something that you can do from the ready user. So I'll simply hit that, and when we go over to the Jim Kirk user, you can see that that message has been added to our conversation. Now, about receiving messages. It is totally real time. So if Jim Kirk is online right now, first of all, that would be very cool. But if your friend is online right now, and I'm online right now, he would have received that message immediately. And that means that if I'm just sitting here right now and he sends me a message back, not only is it going to be conserved in our conversation for the future, but it will be sent to my ReadyChat client instantly, and it'll just appear here. Now, if I'm not focused on the Jim Kirk user and he sends me a message, it will play a subtle boom, boom, boom alert sound. And his name will go to the top of the list, and his name will turn blue in this list. The colors actually depend on the color theme that you have chosen, but in the standard color theme, it's blue. So if anyone in this list, or anyone that's not in this list, were to send me a message right now, their name would go to the top of the list, I would hear the boom, 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 and their name would be blue. Also, the first time that I log in, or the first time I open this, let's say I've received several messages while I was offline, or while ReadyChat was not open. As soon as I open it, the waiting messages and the people who have sent them to me will be apparent to me because their names will appear in blue and their names will be at the top. And then I can click through them one at a time to see those messages. So that's pretty much how you send messages to users. It's pretty easy. Now, it could also happen that someone else looks you up and you don't know who that person is. I mean, there are lots of C64 OS users who know my name, and so any one of them could download ReadyChat. They could look up my name using the search feature, and they could send me a message. And all of a sudden, I'm going to see some handle in here, and I might not recognize it at all. So in that case, I can always go to the Ready user, and I can say, oh, who's this new person here who sent me a message? And I can immediately I could just immediately who is this person, and it'll tell me who they are. Okay. List. So, let's move on to some other plugins that ReadyChat can do, because there are a bunch of really cool ones. So, let's start with currency. So I'll say help currency. So we can do currency, amount, and then the from currency code and the to currency code. So for example, I can say currency $120 CAD, that's from CAD to USD. Okay, it will immediately tell me that that's $85 USD. We could also say currency 37 Great British Pounds to CAD. Okay, we can immediately see that it's $68.28 Canadian. Let's try another plugin. Say help list again. So let's try this time define. We could say help define just to see how it works. So we get define and then a word, and then we have this optional number. So because word definitions can sometimes be kind of long, it only returns one definition at a time, but you can ask it for whichever definition you want to get. So let's say we'll say define hot dog. Okay, so it tells us hot dog, someone who performs dangerous stunts attracting attention to themselves. Okay, so that's interesting. That's not really the kind of definition that I thought it was going to be. So let's say we say define hot dog, except this time we'll say to. Okay, so there you go. That's kind of the more conventional hot dog that we think of, right? A Frankfurter served hot on a bun. Now, if we want to know how many definitions there are, we can say hot dog 99. There probably aren't 99. And it'll tell us that it has 3 definitions for this word. And then we can use that to look up whichever number we want. Let's try another one. Let's try fact. We'll say help fact. Okay, so for this one, there are actually no arguments. You just type in fact, and it gives you a random fact, which, funnily enough, sometimes they're totally wrong. It's from some internet source called Useless Facts. 400 quarter pounders can be made from 1 cow. You see, I don't know if that's actually true, but they are kind of amusing. This sort of reminds me of Uncle John's bathroom reader. All right, let's scroll up here and try another one. Okay, let's try roll. So we'll go help roll. And this is our standard D&D Roller. C64 OS already has a utility called D&D Roller, but you know, why not add a plugin for ReadyChat, right? So with this, we can say roll 2d6, 3d4, and I don't know, 1d20. So this is going to give us 2 6-sided dice, 3 4-sided dice, and 1 20-sided die. Okay, and we got the reply. The 2 6-sided dice, we got a 4 and a 4. The 3 4-sided dice, we got a 2, and a 1. And for the 1d20, we got 17. So that's pretty cool. All right, how about stocks? We'll say help stocks. So for this, we just type stocks, and then we type in the symbol. So I happen to know that the stock symbol for Apple is AAPL. This is case insensitive as well. So I'll try that. Okay, 3.99 trillion. That's quite a bit. I also happen to know that the stocks for Microsoft are MSFT. Okay, good. Apple's above Microsoft right now. For a while, it was the other way around. Now, what do we do if we don't know the symbol for a particular stock? Well, we could go look it up, but there is something else we could ask. We could ask ChatGPT. So now is the time, I think, to show ChatGPT on ReadyChat, since that's what everybody thinks is super cool. So we can see that we have ChatGPT here as a plugin, and we can actually just say, ChatGPT, what is the stock symbol for Google? And we get an instant answer. It says Google's parent company is Alphabet, but it has the stock symbol of GOOGL for Class A shares and GOOG for Class C shares. I don't know what that means, so let's try these though. We'll say stocks GOOGL. Maybe we'll try that first. Okay, 3.44 trillion. A little bit below Microsoft. And maybe we'll try GOOG as well. Stocks GOOG. Okay, so in this case, stocks really wants this first one, GOOGL, and that's kind of in the range that you would expect it to be in. So that's a pretty cool thing. You can use ChatGPT to get what are called instant answers. It doesn't maintain the history of your conversation, but you could just ask it any one question after another. So let me ask it something like, ChatGPT, what are some cool movies from the 1980s? Okay, and so it gives us a list of some cool movies from the 1980s. And so I might say, yeah, Ghostbusters. When was that movie made again? Now, I don't have to always just go to ChatGPT for everything. And sometimes plugins that are already available can give you the information in a more compact form. So there is the Movies plugin. So I will say help movie. Is it movie or movies? Help movie. And so it tells us here that we can say movie, and then we can ask for info, plot, cast, or awards, followed by a movie title. So I'll say movie, info, Ghostbusters. And this gets me some very specific information. It's always formatted in the same manner. It tells us it's from 1984. It was rated PG. It was an action comedy film, action comedy fantasy film. We see that who the director is. We see that its IMDb rating was 7.8 out of 10. Pretty cool. Now we can also ask for a plot. So we can say movie plot, Ghostbusters. 3 parapsychologists, forced out of their university funding, set up shop as a unique ghost removal service in New York City, attracting frightened yet skeptical customers. Now, something that I want to point out here is that ReadyChat always limits message sizes to 160 characters. That means that if you're typing a message, this text field maxes out at 160 characters. That is 2 times as long as a standard basic input line. So a basic input line is 2 screen widths of characters. A ReadyChat input is 4 screen widths long. So it's a reasonable length for Commodore 64. Similarly, replies back are also limited to 160 characters. And sometimes, as we can see here, the reply overflows 160 characters. And so what happens is that it has sent the first part of the message in one message, and then it sent the remainder part of the message, or the remainder part of the response in a second message. Typically, plugins should limit their response to 3 or 4 messages max, because you don't want to overflow the actual scroll back buffer. But I'm going to give you just one last example, and then we'll wrap it up for this video. This one happens to be one that usually gives kind of longish responses. And that one is Zodiac. So we'll say help Zodiac. And so you see we can ask here for Zodiac info, or we can ask for Zodiac and a specific sign, and then optionally we can specify either today or yesterday, and it defaults to today. So if we don't know anything about the Zodiac, we can say Zodiac info. And so you can see that this sent in 2 separate messages the names of the signs and the date on which they start. So let's say I'm Cancer, and Cancer starts on June 21st. I'm born in late June, so I'm Cancer. So we can say Zodiac Cancer, and this will default to today. Try Zodiac Gemini. Okay, Zodiac Cancer. Okay, not sure why it's not working. let's try Gemini. Zodiac, Gemini. Okay. All right, well, the Zodiac plugin is not working at the moment. I'll have to investigate further. That's going to wrap it up for this video, and I'll show Zodiac in a future video. So just to summarize, using Ready, you can search for users by their name, and you can use Whois to get information about who they are, and you can use Message to send a message directly to a particular handle, and that will get that person's name onto your list of contacts. From there, you can click on their name in order to carry on the conversation with them. Plus, we looked at a bunch of different plugins, some of which, such as Define, accesses a local dictionary database that is part of the plugin. Others look up real-time information from the internet, such as Stocks is actually reaching out to a Stocks API. And of course, we have access to ChatGPT, which we can use to get instant answers directly from ChatGPT. So thanks for watching, and we'll come back in another video to show some more plugins, and hopefully I'll get Zodiac working. All right, thanks for watching.